Hi there. Okay, folks, so we've got not a lot of time here. We're going to try and cram as much as we possibly can in your brains in 51 minutes. So we don't need to really go into details of who we are. We already had that, so I'll skip over that slide. Yes, that's my handsome mug right there. And those are my books. Art of SEO, so search engine optimization. This is an easy read. It's only 700 pages. Google Power Search, that one is very apropos to the topic we're going to be discussing today, since that's all about how to be a power user of Google. And then an upcoming book here, Social E-commerce, coming out next year. Almost done with that. So that is a book all about how to dominate in social media and utilize that for business in a sustainable, nice way. And there's Nancy. And there's her site, Google Guide, which is a great resource on everything you want to know about query operators and so forth as well. So between her website, googleguide.com, and my book, Google Power Search, you will be well armed to be a power searcher. So, yeah, problem here with we end up spending a lot of time doing searches that are not quite effective, right? So, according to IDC, knowledge workers spend 15 to 30% of their day searching for information, and more than half of their searches fail. So, garbage in, you get garbage out. So, let's learn how to be more sophisticated in our searching. A cute little cartoon. Actually, I think I have enough keywords to consult Google. Haha, that was supposed to be funny. All right, pop quiz. Let's say you want to find out how many women buy cars in the United States. What's the best Google query to find out? Is it, what is size of female car buying market? Is it, how many women buy cars in the U.S.? Or is it, market size, car buyer, female U.S., or market size, tilde car, tilde buyer, tilde female U.S., or is it buy cars, market female, or women? So take just a moment and take a wild guess here. You'll probably be wrong, but that's okay. We'll explain our kind of thinking behind what we think to be the right answer. So what do you think? Okay. Nancy, why don't you chime in here and give us your opinion on which one you think is the best?
Well, I named Google Guide Google tilde Guide because the tilde operator would find terms synonymous with the term that followed the tilde. So I was trying to promote the tilde, so I like that one a lot because I think it may find results relating to cars and how cars might be expressed in other terms like car, auto, whatever, vehicle, and buyer, or there might be other terms for buyers and females.
Right, purchaser, yep. And I would agree with you on that one. So I bet a lot of the folks on this call have not utilized the tilde operator as of yet. So we're going to go into some detail here going in a few slides in on the tilde operator and how best to leverage that. But yeah, absolutely being able to include synonyms without explicitly specifying each one, female, women, woman, etc., that I think is a very effective way to do this search. And I don't think formulating it as a question is very effective. But now that Google Hummingbird is out, which is a new update, a massive update to their underlying algorithm or programming, it's supposed to be much more intelligent in parsing our queries so that even if we formulate it as a question or it basically tries to get at the intent of what we're trying to find instead of just utilizing each keyword. So, yeah, Google's getting smarter, in other words, over time. All right. Now, if you want this PowerPoint and want to follow along, you can do that right now, and you'll have that PowerPoint at your fingertips. That process is very simple. Just text your name and email address to the phone number, the text number 608-567-4350. And I would encourage you to take notes by hand as we go through this webinar, because it activates and utilizes a different part of your brain if you're taking notes by hand, with your hand and pen and paper, versus typing those notes into a computer. So that's my suggestion. If you don't want to do that, that's fine, but I think your retention rate will go up. And your retention rate will go up if you learn this stuff with the intention of teaching it to others. So let's say you want to teach it to your significant other, or to your kids, or to your workmates, colleagues, whoever. You will find that your retention rate might go from like 30-some% to 90% just by having that sincere intention of wanting to teach this stuff to others. All right, now there are 5 keys to smarter searching. Number 1, cutting through the clutter. Number 2, casting a wider net. 3, mastering the Google interface. 4 is employing specialized search services. And number 5, assembling your toolbox. We're going to go through each one one at a time and go into some detail on each. Starting with number 1, cutting through the clutter. Now, exact phrase matching is where you put in quotes around the phrase. I would encourage you not to formulate your query as a question, but instead to utilize the keywords that you believe will be present in the document. And with that, if you're thinking about should I use a singular or a plural of my keyword, consider in the document, are they likely to be using the singular form or the plural form? If, for example, you're looking for a manual on, your refrigerator, putting the model number of your refrigerator and the word manual into the search box is going to give you probably a pretty good result back. It's going to find what you were looking for. Whereas if you put in manuals plural, that's probably not going to be as effective as a search, because the document that you're looking for, the actual manual, probably says the word manual, but not manuals in plural. Word order matters. Putting the word order out of order so that your keywords are not in the order that is found in the document is going to not be as relevant as if you have the right word order. So, car market, buyers, female, you might want to reorder that if you think that it's going to mention female buyers as a phrase, or kind of close to being a phrase. Female American car buyers, for example, something like that, versus a different word order. Boolean logic also works with Google. Putting the OR operator in there to have it find either keyword, or using the pipe symbol instead of OR. Either one works. The minus or dash character also is quite useful, and is a not operator, so it takes away any. It's a refinement operator to take away from the search results any documents that include whatever keyword that follows the minus sign. Search operators are, we're going to learn more about search operators in the next slide. It's things like filetype and intitle and so forth. And then date-based searching, where you can specify a date range, or you can say, I just want documents within the last year or last day. These are the search operators that I think are the most important to know about. starting with file type, this one's hugely useful because if you're looking for, let's say, a marketing plan or a business plan, and probably that's going to be in the form of, a real one will be in the form of a Word document, perhaps a PDF, then you can use the file type operator to cut through a lot of the noise, just web pages that mention business plans or talk about how to write a business plan without it actually being a real one. The semicolon operator is also very helpful. A search operator where you can refine the results to just be from a particular domain or website, or even a subdirectory of a website. Yes, the semicolon operator will even take subdirectories if you say semicolon, I don't know, yourcompany.com / I don't know, about us. And anything in the About Us directory will get picked up that includes the keywords that you mentioned there. If you don't have any keywords along with the semicolon operator, then it'll just return all the pages in that directory. And then similarly, if you just specify a domain name like semicolon.O'Reilly.com, it'll return all the pages from O'Reilly's website. Nancy, do you want to go through some of these as well? I'll pass the baton over to you for a few minutes here.
So sometimes, here, like intitle in URL, if you know the actual name of the file or the page, you know some of the information, and you can use those to find a particular page. And for our intitle, if you know the title of the page, or if you know in URL, it can be part of the URL, and that's good for searching if you know exactly what you're looking for. I use define instead of a dictionary these days. Define : and you can find a definition of a word. And I haven't actually used compare.
Yeah, well, compare is a new one. This is since Hummingbird, when Google announced the Hummingbird algorithm update just recently with their in conjunction with their 15th birthday. They highlighted the compare operator as a cool addition. So it's basically going to show you juxtaposed in a chart two different objects that you want to compare against each other. It's really kind of fun, but it doesn't work on everything. So we'll see some screenshots of these in action. And what I like to use the intitle and inURL for, I use them all the time. And if I'm looking for something that I think is going to otherwise include a lot of noise in the search results, like for example, if I'm looking for business plans, and in the title of the document, and when I say it's a minute ago I said like Word documents would be good to hone in on if it's a business plan or marketing plan. Well, sometimes those are not titled appropriately because the actual title of a Word document is in the file properties. You go under the file menu and then you go to properties, and that's where the title is pulled from. So it may not be very good. It might just be untitled or blank or some nonsense instead of being the actual title of the web page, or the document. But if it's an actual web page, imagine doing a search where it's like intitle : I don't know, Google query operators, or let's use all intitle in this case actually, because then every word will have to be in the title. So Google query operators or Google search operators, something like that, with all intitle : preceding that, will find only documents that in the title have those three words. So you're going to find a very specific but small result set by doing that search versus just Google query operators, where the word Google could appear somewhere in the document, somewhere else in the document, the word query somewhere else in the document. the word operators. In fact, some of those words may not even be in the document itself, but instead in links pointing to the page. Right? So if you Google,
I have a page in Google Guide that describes all these operators and has examples of all of them. So you can do a search on Google Guide operators or Google Guide cheat sheet, and you can find examples of those operators.
Hi, Nancy.
As well as many operators.
Hi, Nancy. Sorry to cut in. The audience is having a real hard time hearing you. I just want to double check that you are close to your mic.
Okay.
And that you're on a handset rather than speaker.
Yeah, I'm on a handset.
Okay. Yeah, if we could just speak as loud as possible, and then the audience can turn up their volume too.
Okay.
All right, cool. Well, let's take a look at some of these query operators and see how they work in the real world. This one doesn't yet have any query operators or refinement operators yet, just market research consultants, New Jersey. Now, if we compare that with market research in quotes, so the phrase market research, and then consultants, and then in quotes again, the phrase New Jersey, this is a more refined search because we specify that market research has to be a phrase instead of just the word market somewhere and the word research somewhere in the document. And then again, same thing with the phrase New Jersey. So that's a more effective search than the previous one without the quotes. Here's another query without quotes. How many women buy cars in the U.S.? So no refinement operators yet. Compare that with market size, car buyer, female U.S. Now we're starting to think in terms of what are the keywords that are likely to appear in the document. The market size, that's something that you imagine having in a document that's talking about the market for car buyers. Okay, and here's a little bit different query. Market size, car buyer, female or women U.S. And also notice I'm going to point out here something that Google engineers like to refer to as quick or keywords in context. That's a little geeky trivia there for you. If you look at the search listings here, you'll see that some of the keywords are bolded. And that doesn't mean that those bolded words are being factored into the ranking algorithm. They may or may not be. I mean, if it's like part of a meta description, then they're absolutely not being utilized in the rankings algorithm by Google. But these highlighted words or bolded words help from a user standpoint. So Google user or searcher can more quickly identify the most relevant results this way by seeing the keywords or related very close synonyms bolded in the search results. Just wanted to point that out. And you notice, of course, when I did that or between female or women, it picked up on search results that had female, had women, either or in the search results. Now, Google's pretty good at finding synonyms as well automatically. So if you wanted to do an exact word search, then do put quotes around the word, and that's going to stop Google from automatically using additional synonyms. All right, so here's another query, marketing plans apparel. Now, if you are in the apparel industry, in other words, clothing, you tend to use the word apparel. That would be great if you're looking for a marketing plan or business plan written by somebody who's in the industry and for their business. Not so great if you're a consumer or you're targeting documents that would be for consumers because, well, consumers don't use that kind of language. They talk about clothing and clothes. They don't talk about apparel. And so another example would be kitchen electrics. That's a term that only people in the industry use, and it refers to things like food processors and blenders. I don't think I've ever heard anyone utter in a sentence the phrase kitchen electrics before, except for people who are in that industry. So I have clients who are in, that are like department store chains and what have you, and they're trying to rank higher in Google, and they're using words like kitchen electrics in their pages, and they might rank for kitchen electrics, but who cares because nobody's searching for that. So think in terms, if you're the searcher, what are the keywords that are likely to appear on the document? And if you are a company or a website and you're trying to reach consumers or potential customers, think of the language that your customer base is using when they're typing in searches into Google, and try and use those same words. All right. And now in this slightly different query, we have marketing plan apparel, so that's a singular instead of marketing plans. And if I'm writing a marketing plan and I'm, for whatever reason, publishing it on the web, and you'd be surprised how many people accidentally publish this stuff on the web, confidential business plans, marketing plans, all sorts of confidential documents, because they just stick it somewhere on their website for their business partner to see, or their consultant or what have you, and they put it somewhere tucked away in the website where they think nobody's going to inadvertently click. Well, Google, the spider, the Googlebot spider is going to explore every single link on your website and find these confidential documents that you tucked away somewhere, and they end up in the search results. So you've got to be careful about that if you're a website owner. But that's why a lot of these confidential type things are on the web, and you can find them if you know the kind of query operators to use and keywords. So marketing plan apparel is a better search from the standpoint of I'm probably, as an author of a marketing plan, going to mention in my document marketing plan versus marketing plans. You're looking for multiple examples, so you're looking for a plural, but you want to formulate a query that uses the singular because that's the most likely keyword that's going to appear in the documents that you're looking for. Is there anything you wanted to add, Nancy?
Well, I found that Google searches for both these days, and you don't need to specify it as exactly. Only if you want an exact match, you put quotes around it, but otherwise, you don't need to these days. Google will find where people have put in plurals and singulars and variations of the terms.
Right. So that's where the Hummingbird algorithm has really made a big advance for Google and for its user base, in that it's affected what they said is over 90% of searches, and it gets more at the intent of what we're looking for, and we don't have to think quite so much about formulating the query exactly in the right way. That Google is much more forgiving now than it used to be. But still, my preference is to think in terms of what are the more likely keywords that are going to appear, rather than leaving it to Google to figure out additional synonyms and so forth to pull up too. Here's a great example of a intitle query. So I put into the Google search box intitle : and then in quotes marketing plan. So the phrase marketing plan has to appear in the title of the document. Site : marketingprofs.com. So if I left off the site : marketingprofs.com, then that would show any document on the web that has the phrase marketing plan in the title. If somebody is mentioning marketing plan somewhere in the document but not in the title, it's more likely to be not a marketing plan than if marketing plan is mentioned in the title of the document. I mean, that's my logic. Yeah, I think it's probably true, but feel free to prove me wrong. So when I do that query where I specify the intitle operator, I'm specifically telling Google only return documents that have marketing plan in the title of the document, and that really cuts through a lot of additional results. Okay, here's an example where we're using the site : operator in a way that is not usually used. We're not specifying a domain like marketingprofs.com or O'Reilly.com. We're just specifying a top-level domain. In other words, just the .com or the .edu or .gov. So this example here, apparel marketing plan site:/edu, restricts the results to only edu sites. So educational institutions that end with .edu are able to come up in these search results.
And if you wanted results not from the educational sites, you could put minus site:/edu.
Yep, exactly. Here's an example where we've incorporated file type into the query: marketing plan apparel file type:/doc. Right. So this is going to only return Word documents. The thing about file type is it works with any extension. It doesn't have to be, it's not like the file type is the actual file type. It's based on the portion of the URL that follows the dot at the end of the URL. I mean, sometimes you'll have question mark and blah 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 blah. Some additional parameters in the URL. But whatever that part of the URL that follows the dot, if it's .doc or docx or PPT or PDF or CFM or XLS or HTML or HTML or any of these different extensions, PHP or what have you, it could still be a regular HTML document, but it ends in .php or .asp or .aspx. So it's, for all intents and purposes, it's just a regular HTML page. But the file type that you would use in this case, if it's a PHP page, the URL includes PHP and not HTML, you would do file type:/PHP. So just a little bit of trivia there. But normally, if you're looking for like an Excel spreadsheet, you do XLS, right? File type:/XLS. If you're looking for a Word document, file type:/DOC. And I'd probably do the same search for file type:/DOCX, because those are two different file types. They're both Word documents, but the URL is going to be different between those two. One is a more recent version of Microsoft Word. Okay, here's another example that we've thrown in the word confidential here, and you'd be surprised how many confidential documents are floating around on the web for the very reason that I explained a minute ago, that people stick stuff in strange places on their website and expect that Google won't find it, or they don't even think about Google finding it. Here's a great example of that not working the way that website owners would expect. It does find those documents. Here's another example with confidential, slightly different here, where we've incorporated not just file type:/doc, but also intitle:/plan. So the word plan has to appear in the title of the document as well. That'll be more likely to pick up on business plans and marketing plans and so forth than if we just said plan without intitle. Then the word plan could appear anywhere in the document or in links pointing to the document. Here's an example where Nancy just spoke a minute ago about using the minus operator to take out of the result set results that were from like a particular site or top-level domain. We can do that with, like in this case, phrases. I did marketing plan in quotes and then minus business plan in quotes. This will pull up marketing plans that do not say business plan. If you had a document that was all about, here are the problems with formulating or writing a business plan or a marketing plan, and here's what to do, to do a proper business plan or marketing plan. That would cut all that stuff out of the search results and only find documents that have the phrase marketing plan but did not mention the phrase business plan anywhere. This is going to give us more specific results that are more likely to be marketing plans and not just more generic type advice about how to write a good marketing plan or business plan. Here's an example with all in URL, where every word after all in URL, colon, has to appear in the URL of the document. So all in URL, colon, marketing plan. The word marketing, the word plan, both have to appear somewhere in the URL in order to be returned in this search result set. Here's a fun one with using Google as a dictionary. Just put in define colon, and then lycopene is it's a healthy what is it, antioxidant or something? No, it's a carotenoid pigment, and it's present in tomatoes. This is using Google as a dictionary, where you put define before the keyword. And then look what happens if we didn't put define in there and we just typed in lycopene. We don't get an instant result at the top of the on the left-hand side, although you do get a definition, I think probably from Wikipedia, over on the right-hand side. So I prefer to use the define operator if I'm absolutely wanting to get the dictionary definitions out of Google. Here is a query for market research SUV, and we're going to utilize the search tools functionality now. I've circled that there, and you can see that. And then there will be a set of options underneath the search tools box where you can specify a different location or a time range. Here we're going to specify a time/date range, and let's change that to, I don't know, the last 24 hours or the last year, right? Here's an example with the compare operator, comparing butter with margarine. You can see there's a little arrow there that we can click on, and that will expand the table to include a whole bunch of interesting stats about butter and margarine. All right, now if we want to cast a wider net, and instead of refining our results to a smaller result set, we want to expand the results. Having the tilde operator or wildcard operator or the or operator, number ranges, the related operator, these are all great ways to expand your result set to get even more results. Right? We showed an example earlier on of including in the search query female or women with or in all caps. So that's an example of an expanded result set. Okay, here is another example: apparel, confidential, business, or marketing, and you can use the type symbol, or you can use the word or in all caps. Plan, file type :doc. We're looking for business plans or marketing plans that are Word documents that have the word confidential in there and are apparel related, so they're in the apparel industry. Here's one with a phrase market research, in quotes, frozen food, in quotes, file type :PDF, and then 2011. The phrase, the word 2011 must appear somewhere in the document or on links pointing to the document. Now in this next example, we have expanded the result set to include any year in between 2004 and 2011, simply by putting 2004 and then 2 dots, no spaces between here, 2004, then 2 dots, and then 2011. So this will match on 2010, 2008, 2011, 2004, 2006, any of those. You can see that it's working because the first search result has 2010 bolded and highlighted there in the title.
I find that operator good for searching for things of a given price. Like if you want to buy a bicycle that's in a certain price range, you can specify the price range.
Yep, that's a great use of it. Here we have standards marketing as a query, but we've improved the query by now putting quotes around standards and then standards asterisk marketing and then close quotes. The asterisk is a wildcard character, and it's going to capture standards in marketing, standards of marketing, standards for marketing, standards and marketing. You'll notice that all those permutations that I just mentioned are bolded in the search results set. That's really great if we're looking for a particular three-word phrase that starts with standards and ends with marketing.
So do you put an asterisk for each word that you want? So if you wanted 2 words in between those 2 words, you'd use 2 asterisks?
Yep, exactly. Thanks for mentioning that. Here's an example using the related operator. Related colon and then the website URL. Related colon radar.o'reilly.com. We'll give some related websites to the O'Reilly radar website. You can also get to it from the Google search results, but I prefer just typing in related colon and then the URL. It's faster. All right, here's number 3, mastering the Google interface. We're going to learn a few little tips and tricks. And this is a bonus one that you probably don't know about, and I wasn't planning on including, but oh, what the heck, this is really fun. If you're on Google Images, you're doing an image search, right? You're on Google Images, so images.google.com. There is a little icon that looks like a camera at the end of the Google search box. So on this screenshot, you see that there's a little icon that looks like a microphone, but if you go to Google Images, you'll see what looks like a camera icon. Click on that, and it will take you to a little it brings up a little pop-up thing where you can either specify a URL or you can upload an image, and it will find related images that look like or are the same image that you're either uploading or that you're giving the URL to. Is that cool or what? If I had a photo that I wasn't sure the source of, I wanted to find the source so that I could cite it properly in a blog post, I could go to Google Images, upload that photo by clicking on that little camera icon, and then it will find all the websites that have that image or very close versions of that image out on the web, and I can even refine the search to only that size of image. So if I wanted to find all occurrences of that image in any size, Google Images can do that, or if I wanted to find it just in that particular size, it can do that too. Isn't that cool? All right, so let's learn a few things about the Google interface. One of the things I'll point out is that you're going to see a flywheel icon over on the right-hand side. Over there, if you click on that, you're going to get to, that's where you get to your settings. You can change settings to, let's say, display 100 results per page instead of 10. Be sure to turn off Google Instant if you are doing that, and that's also in the search settings. So right above where you have this slider bar of changing the search results from 10 to 20 to 100 or whatever, there's an option, a radio button that says never display instant results. So you're going to have to tick that radio button in order for you to change the number of results from 10 to 100. Also under that flywheel icon is where you change your search, your web history setting. So there's an option called web history underneath the flywheel, and that's where you would specify that you don't want to get personalized results for your computer if you wanted to get something that was more generic. And because I'm in the SEO space, I help websites get higher rankings in Google. I don't want to see personalized results to my computer or to me logged in as a user, so I'll log out, and then I will make sure that my web history settings are turned off as well, so my computer isn't getting personalized results either. yeah, this is something I wanted to point out too, is that you're probably never using this button, but we've all noticed it. It's called the I'm Feeling Lucky button. If you don't know what that does, you type in a search query like, say, Toyota, or in this case, advertising age, and boom, it takes you directly to the first search result. I don't know if you've ever used that, but nobody tends to use it, yet Google at one point took it away, and there was a big outcry from Google users, like, where'd that button go? It's kind of like part of Google.
You've expanded that button. If you push on that button, it changes, and you can it can change to I'm feeling artistic, I'm feeling doodly. So there seems to be
that shows how much I've clicked on that button, because I didn't notice that. Oh, that's hilarious.
So try it sometime.
How fun. Here's a Google query for Google Cartoon, because I was looking for a cartoon to insert into this presentation. And by clicking on the Images tab, the default, of course, is the Web tab, but Images tab will pull up Google Images results without me going directly to images.google.com. That's pretty handy. I can kind of flip between the different types of search results: Google Maps, Google Shopping, Google Video, Google Images, etc. Here's the advanced search box. Also, that advanced search features also underneath the flywheel icon over on the top right in the search results. Here I'm doing a query where I've specified all the words bird's eye have to appear, but not the word view. The equivalent of this, which you've already learned from a few minutes ago, was bird's eye minus view. But here, if I didn't remember exactly how to formulate the query, I can use the advanced search box to do this. And there's what the query is going to show up as after I hit the search button in the advanced search page. All right. Just going to skip over some of these here.
How often does Google change their interface, as far as you've found?
Pretty frequently. We've had to update the book a few different times in different print runs for the Google Power Search book, because every time turn around, Google's changed their interface even slightly, and then all the screenshots look out of date. All right, here we have number 4, and we're getting close to the end here. Employ specialized search services, and that's including a lot of vertical engines that Google owns that you probably have never used or rarely used, like Google Patent Search or Google Books or Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a fantastic resource. It's of peer-reviewed journal articles, so scientific journals and so forth. And then, of course, built into Google Search now, which you're getting probably pretty spoiled by, is getting instant answers thanks to Google Knowledge Graph, where you just start typing in things that you just want an immediate answer to without having to go to a web page to dig for it, like when was Abraham Lincoln born? It will give you an instant answer pulling from those websites. The downside, of course, from a website owner's perspective is they're not getting the traffic anymore, because Google's just saying, here's the answer. No need to go anywhere on the web for that answer. We'll just give it straight to you by pulling it from other people's websites. And then Google Now is another useful tool, which you can access from your mobile phone if you have the Google app installed. So the Google search box is a calculator, it's a measurement converter, it's a dictionary, it's a clock, a package tracker, an airline timetable, a street map atlas, a stock ticker, a meteorologist, and much more. You type any of those kind of queries in, and Google will provide you with an instant answer. Right? You put in a calculation there, and it'll calculate it for you. You ask it what the weather is or what time it is in a different city, it'll tell you. You give it a package tracking number, UPS or FedEx or whatever, it will tell you where that package is. Pretty cool. And then finally, assemble your toolbox and have some really great resources at your fingertips that would include, like, for example, my book, Google Power Search, and googleguide.com. Take the Google Guide tutorial. Create a Google cheat sheet of your favorite search operators and little tips and tricks. Set your start page to something that is most useful for you. If it's Google News because you're a news junkie, or it's My Yahoo because you want to get the latest news from your favorite blogs and you hook up their RSS feeds to your My Yahoo, or whatever it is, right? Subscribe to Google Alerts so that you are informed when new stuff shows up on the web or in Google News or both. So here's a screenshot of Google Alerts, which is a fantastic free service. Monitors the Google results for you for different keywords. All right. So in summary, we're going to cast a wider net, right? So be more, not only more specific in terms of more refined with our queries. We're going to cast a wider net by including multiple synonyms and the OR operator and so forth. We're going to master the Google interface and employ specialized search services and assemble our toolbox. All right, so let's take some Q&A for a few minutes. Also, if you have questions and we didn't get a chance to cover them, I'm going to make myself available here after the webinar concludes via email. If you want to send me a question directly, feel free to do so. Stephan@stephenspencer.com is my email address. If you wanted to get a copy of this slide deck, feel free to email my assistant. Her email is admin@stephenspencer.com. That's STEPHAN, Spencer.com. Or you can text your name and email to 608-567-4350. All right, let's do some Q&A.
All right. So we have quite a few questions here, and we'll get through as many as we can. Let's see here. Karen wants to know, are these tips specific to Google, or are they true for most search engines?
The short answer is they were. This presentation was designed for Google, and Nancy and I are both experts at Google, more so than the other search engines. However, some of these query operators do also work on other search engines, such as Bing. If you use the site colon query operator, that would work, for example. But not every query operator works. So.
All right. And Helen wants to know, do capital letters matter when searching?
No. Short answer is no.
Well, capital letters don't matter in all queries, but if you type or and in capital letters, it's interpreted as an operator.
Yep, good point. So if you're using or in lowercase, it's actually a keyword, whereas if you're using it as all caps, then it's a query operator.
All right, thank you. Maren wants to know, does the tilde operator automatically translate?
Into a foreign language? No. It would be for synonyms in the language that you're searching in.
All right. And somebody wanted to know, what did Nancy say she uses to shop for things in a certain price range?
I use dollar amount, ... dollar amount. So I use
all right. If you
number
folks
range
didn't hear that,
operator.
she said dollar amount, ... dollar amount.
Yep. And you can also use Google Shopping. So you go to Google Shopping, and then you can specify a price range. There's an advanced search function there where you can put the lower part of your price range in the upper part.
Excellent.
And I believe that Google also offers you the option to order things either from lowest to highest or highest to lowest if you're using their shopping service.
Yep, you can definitely sort that way on Google Shopping. Google Shopping is different from Google Web Search, though, because Google Web Search is all of the web, and Google Shopping are only retail sites that have opted in and paid Google a fee, and it's based on a feed. It's not based on web pages, but a data feed that they've provided Google.
All right, and Bob wants to know, is there a way to search for metadata in PDF? I ask because we're looking for scanned copies of our books in Google's index that often have different titles, but the metadata of the scans is the same.
Google allows you to search in PDFs. Oh, but you said metadata. Do you know the answer to that?
I doubt it. I doubt it's going to be searchable. I mean, unless it's the title.
For those of you doing code search, there is a specialized tool for doing code searches. So there's Google Code, which is code.google.com.
Code.google.com. Okay, that's excellent. Let's see here. Richard wants to know, Google's Hummingbird algorithm is supposed to interpret what the searcher is looking for using synonyms, etc. Does that mean that it is possible the search results will include listings that may not actually contain any words in the search?
Search results would be returned that may not include any of the keywords that you typed in, because the artificial intelligence algorithm is figuring out what you meant, what you intended, without specifying the exact words that you were looking for.
If you misspell something, Google may find pages that include the correct spelling of what you're searching for, because it looks at what other people have searched when they've searched maybe your misspelling and then finally found the page they wanted, and Google takes that into account.
All right, and we have a few more questions here. Allison wants to know, why do you have to use brackets for women or female?
Good question. So the parentheses, if you did the query without the parentheses, I believe that the result set would be the same. For me, it's because I'm pretty geeky and programmer and so forth. It helps me to kind of see if it's a very complex query, what I want to be ordered and what is not part of it. But I think I don't think that it changes the query, actually.
I think it makes sense for single word queries. You don't need the brackets, but if you had a multi-word thing that you wanted, so suppose you were searching for Barack Obama or George Bush, you might want to, and you wanted one president or the other president, you'd want to group those two terms, Barack Obama and George Bush, their names together, so you could put quotes around their names and an or to search for either one of those. But if you didn't put the brackets and you just put an or, then you'd find pages that would have Barack and Bush in it, or Obama and George in it as well. Or no, I guess you wouldn't. Right? Anyway, I have to rethink that example. But I try to be very clear when I'm using multi-word searches to group the words that I want together with quotes.
All right, and we'll just do one more question here. Ricardo wants to know, what's the best way to search for market share on products, etc.?
What's the best way to search for market share on products? Well, I like to use the phrase market share in my query, because that's probably going to be mentioned in the document. And if it's a particular industry or type of product or whatever, I like to use the word or the phrase that is more the industry terminology, because that's going to find documents that were written by somebody in the industry or who's very familiar with the industry. So apparel would be a better keyword to use in this case than clothing or clothes. Kitchen electrics would be better to use in this case than small kitchen appliances. Right. So that's how I would do it. Nancy, did you have anything to add on that one?
Well, I wonder whether he wants to know market share based on, Google searches, whether he can find. And I guess I'd like to run lots of queries to learn from the results of my query to refine my queries. So I'm not, I often don't start off with the query that I want, but I do a query, look at the results, see what I'm getting and whether it's what I want, and if it's not what I want, refine my query, and I refine it several times before. So I don't always, have a good query to begin with, but after a while I get a good query that gives me results I want.
All right, and folks, we do know that there were a lot more questions out there. So like Stefan said, if you could email him with those questions that weren't answered, please take advantage of this contact information that he's provided you there. And with that, that concludes our webcast. Do you two have anything else you'd like to leave the audience with?
Just recognize that over time Google's going to get better and better and utilize more artificial intelligence to make it easier and easier for us. So that's the good news.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you both for an excellent presentation. The audience loved it, and it was very informative. And thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you at future events. Have a good morning or afternoon or evening to wherever you are from. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.